My guest for today is a good friend of mine. He is the co-founder and lead organizer of TEDx Fort Bonifacio. I gotta read that kasi I know this guy since high school, and now he's here doing some big things. Welcome to the show. I'm so proud. I'm so happy that I have a high school friend who's here, grade school friend that's here, Mr. Miguel Domingo. What's up, man?
What's
How
up,
you doing?
brother? Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Dude, thanks for being here. And I love how your voice just changed. Kasi, syempre alam ko na yung ano mo eh. I know your normal casual voice. But now, I feel like it's the first
Okay.
time I'm gonna really experience your work voice. Yung performance. Yung
I think
performance voice mo, kumbaga.
I think this is the first time we're actually working together. I mean, minus high school projects and
Oo.
stuff. I can
Actually,
attest that your voice doesn't change. So
really? Okay.
you're
Well,
real, bro. Yeah.
I hope so. I hope that it means that I'm always performing rather than I'm always just TEDx chill voice. But then
Yeah.
we're filming this on a Monday. It's actually a holiday, so I feel like it's good because I got you to have some free time today. Before we talk about TEDx and everything, can you give me a picture of how it's like with this new work from home setup in the pandemic? I've been to your house. I've seen that you have a monitor, you have a different
Yeah.
setup na. You work in a corporate job. If I would have to describe what you do, it falls under corporate, like the corporate world. That's what Miguel Domingo does. How has the work from home situation been like for you?
It's been very different. If I can say, like, it sort of evolved throughout the first 2 months, the next 2 months, the next 2 months. I kind of have some sort of routine that I do now.
Uh-huh.
So I try to wake up at like 5:30, do my own thing like
Really?
in the morning. Yeah, because I can't just some people can just wake up and go
And then
straight to
work.
work, like log in. No,
Uh-huh.
I can't do that. I need at least an hour, 2 hours
What do
before
you do?
work.
What do you do in those hour? In that 1 hour or 2 hours?
Um, if I'm able to wake up early enough, like malamang, it's not always naman, right? But
Oh.
so I'll tell you na lang my ideal day. So my ideal day is I wake up at like 5 a.m., right? And then I do
Mm-mm.
some meditation. I get to
Ooh.
work out maybe for an hour and a half. Thus I get to watch, well, before I used to watch NBA or sometimes American football or
Uh-huh.
whatever, like news in the morning. So I like have that downtime while I'm having my first cup of coffee, right? Then I
Boom.
log in around 7:30 before 8. Then, for the entire day, it's going to be like work na.
There are two things I wanted to ask from that. Coffee, I feel like random. I feel like coffee is a very corporate thing. Like we in the Starbucks and when you see a Starbucks in a movie, there's always like people in suits. You would be one of those. I mean, that is your job, eh. Finance world, you wear a suit, you wear that type of stuff. Is coffee really part of your culture, or it just happens that whether or not you were working in the corporate world, you'd be drinking coffee every morning?
Well, whether or not I'm in the corporate world or not, I'd be drinking coffee. Like
Ah,
it's
okay.
like even on weekends, I drink coffee sometimes. I like what I do is I try to keep one day wherein I don't drink coffee, so I can
Uh-huh.
sort of detox naman. But it's more of
Ah.
it's like it marks that I'm starting my day
Yeah.
already. Like
If you
it's more psychological, I think. Yeah.
okay, that I was gonna go there. Do you need coffee every morning to like function? Like ayaw mo mag-meeting, ayaw mo isip ng trabaho kung di ka pa nagko-coffee.
I don't think I need it, but yeah, it's like a habit already. Like, okay, I'm
Ah,
gonna make
okay.
my first cup of coffee before I log in. So
Okay.
I don't need it to function per se, especially if like my mind's already running in the morning, right? Which
Mhm.
is why I kind of need I'm like a diesel engine, man. Like I need some time before I get warmed
Yeah,
up.
gets.
But
And
that's
and that
like the ignition, like coffee.
okay. It's
Yeah,
the up game time. Okay. And you
yeah,
said
yeah,
you
yeah.
wake up ideally, you wake up mga 5:30. Is this something you just started doing now? Because whenever I would hear stories, I'd love to say that I'm the type of person who reads the story of these billionaires, but I'm not. I just hear these stories from my brothers and my parents who read the stories. All the
Okay.
billionaires, all the super successful people always wake up super early, like 4:30 a.m., 5 a.m. Is that a conscious effort for you from you to wake up that early every day, or are you just the type of person who enjoys super early mornings?
I think it's a mix of both. I super enjoy mornings. Like what I try to do is I try to reach the sunrise and the sunset. So like that's my
Mm.
incentive of getting up. Thus, if I don't wake up before 7, kasi I'm never gonna work out throughout the day. Kasi if you
Oh, okay.
work out later in the day, you're usually, you know, like you sort of succumb to whatever work you need to do, or if you're feeling too tired. So
Okay.
that's
Parang
sort
hindi
of
na
what
siya
happens.
prioritize.
Yeah.
If
But
you work out in the
aminin ko,
morning, tapos ka na.
yeah, yeah, exactly. But aminin ko, like, to answer your question though, like the reason why I got into it was Kobe, man. Like, to be honest, like, you
Ooh,
know
okay.
those stories wherein you hear him wake up 3:30, 4:30, and
Yeah,
he's already
yeah.
in the gym. I don't think I used to like Kobe before, especially like, you know, he had all those rape allegations,
Oh,
blah blah
yeah.
blah. Like
Yeah.
yabang ng dating niya eh. Pero the more you look into him, he's like he's the kind of guy who just goes all in whatever he does. And like I super respect that. Right?
Okay.
Like
Yeah, he's the definition of someone going all in and doing magic. Wait, I just wanted
yeah.
to touch on it quickly lang ah. I had no plans to talk about Kobe, but then since he was brought up na, and you mentioned the rape allegations, when he passed away, syempre everyone was really like, Kobe, Mamba forever. Like, it was just like, Kobe is a hero, Kobe is a
Yeah,
saint,
yeah.
all those type of stuff. Did it ever cross your mind that, oh, di ba nag-rape siya? Or di ba may mga rape allegations? How did you distinguish the legacy of Kobe from him being a basketball player and those rape issues as a Kobe fan?
That's a good question because one wrong thing that they did
Yeah.
can like it's more philosophical. Eh? Like does that define everything that they've done?
Diba?
Right? Does that disregard everything that they've done? Or like do you have to take someone like for the sum of all of his parts? Like he's done like
Yeah.
10 good things and 9 good
Yeah.
things. Is he a good
So
person?
where do you stand on this? Where do you stand on the with Kobe, for example?
I disagree with that side of him, obviously, but at the
Yeah.
same time, I I can look up to some parts of him wherein you can
Gets.
sort of mold into that. Like for
Yeah.
example, like one of my favorite Kobe quotes is, if my last 10 years has been better than my next 10 years, like I've failed at life, something like that. Like
Ganda
so that
nun.
like he had one of the most historic basketball careers, right?
Yeah.
But he when once he like the day he retired, he told himself, okay, like if my last 18 years in
Mm-hmm.
or 20 years in as a basketball player were better than my next 20 years as a businessman, then I'm not doing something right with my life,
Oh, okay. Because it
right?
has to ideally has to just keep getting better and better. Wow. That's
Yeah, and going back to the rape allegations, right? Like if for me, like if he was able to learn from that,
yeah.
like it's it's not his shining moment, you know what I mean?
Obviously,
And
yeah.
if he really did it, that's a theological,
Yeah.
philosophical discussion now,
But
right?
it's so heavy because it's rape eh. Like I don't
Yeah,
even
yeah,
like me, I'm uncomfortable now just talking about it. And also that this
yeah,
is a podcast, it's gonna be public. Like whatever you say about these certain topics, because it's always gonna be touchy. Even if by principle, we as a human race, diba, we know that humans make mistakes and
yeah,
they're supposed to learn from them that once you did this doesn't mean ganyan ka na for life, diba? Ganun na
yeah.
yan, doming. Um but same way how I still am a huge fan of Chris Brown and Michael Jackson. Like
Ooh, yeah,
there's that other side of them, but for me, I don't want to cancel the whole person because
yeah,
of a percentage of them. Like it's not forgivable. It's not. I'm not saying okay lang yan. Maganda naman yung music ni Chris Brown. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying
yeah,
maganda yung music niya. So doon ako nakatudok. It might be a little irresponsible to it for some people. I'm sure it's gonna come off as being irresponsible. Medyo wala ka pake porket you like some parts of him, you're gonna kind of forget. I don't know. That's just where I stand in it, and that's all right. Thank you, thank you. Let's jump
yeah.
now. Let's jump to
Let's jump.
now. Let's move over to somewhere that you have been applying your wisdom. TEDx. You've been doing this since college. What was the first year that you welcomed TED into your life?
Yeah, like the first time I watched a TEDx video, we can go into that in a bit, right?
Oh,
Was I don't remember the exact day, but I can honestly say that that one TED video changed my life, which is
who's
why I
this?
super got into TEDx.
Oh,
It's Drew Dudley's everyday leadership talk.
Okay, I will
So
put that in the
I
list.
yes, I recommend like for people watching, for you to watch it. It's like I think it's a
Drew
6 to 8 minute
Dudley.
video.
Oh, 6 to 8.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's very short, but his idea is like I'm gonna give you like a TLDR is
Okay.
he went volunteering one day in a university, handing out lollipops for a certain cause. And then he was
Mm-hmm.
just handing out lollipops to random students. And he apparently handed one lollipop to, I think it was a girl. And then either a girl or guy. Then the guy took it and was like, you should give this lollipop to that girl beside you. So apparently, when he said that, the two started talking. The guy and the girl started talking, and they ended up
Together.
getting married, like eventually. So,
Ooh.
like the
Okay. You
reason
love
why
that
it's
shit. You love that shit, Doms, no? That
no, yeah, and
romance.
the reason why is like the power of that one moment changed. Like he didn't even know it, right? Like it's like the
Yes.
way he went about his life was a certain way, and he
Mm.
was just very bibo, positive, welcoming, friendly, diba? And then that one lollipop, like I call it, he calls it a lollipop moment, was able to change someone's life fundamentally, and
Oo.
he didn't even know about it. So that to me is like the power of leadership and the power of ideas. So going back to your other question,
Oo.
like what got me into TED was that one talk. But I sort of embraced the power of ideas out of that one talk. And basically tried to live my life in that mantra, like to leave
When
people better than when I found them,
when you
right?
say it's the ideas, it's what intrigued you. Do you mean generating ideas? Is it sharing ideas? Or like in the example, is it the effect of one single idea can have such a huge fundamental effect on another person?
That's everything. So, okay, like the way I see an idea, right?
Okay.
There's sort of like a life cycle, like and I call it an IDEA, like an idea life cycle. Like
Did
the
you make
first
it an
one is the
acronym?
yeah, dude. Like I've been thinking about this
You made it
for a while.
you made this acronym yourself?
Yeah, well, I hope so. Like I just
Okay.
thought
Yeah,
about it.
no,
Yeah,
if you haven't heard it from anyone, let's
no, I
claim it.
haven't yet.
Let's claim it. This is Doming's, sorry, this is Miguel's acronym. Hit me with the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
IDEA, bro.
All right. So the first stage is an I, right? Like the idea itself. So you
Okay.
sort of you plant a seed basically in the form of a thought, an idea, right? Like I don't know if you watched Inception, but it was the moment
I did super
Leonardo
get it, but
DiCaprio's no,
okay.
but it was the moment he started spinning the
Okay.
top,
Okay,
right?
okay.
So like he planted that idea. Then slowly and surely, the second phase is you're gonna develop the idea. Like whether
Okay.
or not you actively cultivate it or not, it's if it's a powerful enough idea, like it's gonna grow. Like you don't need to like water a plant daily for it to become a tree. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then comes the third phase, which is sort of the tipping point. So there's an enlightenment, an E, like the
Okay.
enlightenment, like a realization that happens that
While you're
okay,
developing the idea?
like let me put it this way. One day you just randomly woke up and
Oh,
said, I want to be in media,
okay.
in the media industry. Like that wasn't just one random day.
It
That was a
it's
build up.
of a lot of
Yeah.
steps before I got there. Yeah, okay,
Yes. But if you
gets.
trace it back, it came from one fundamental idea.
That's
Maybe
right.
that person actually told you something.
Mm-mm.
Maybe maybe you read something. Maybe you watched a movie, whatever it is.
Yes.
Something planted that idea. You cultivated it through internally and
Yes.
external factors. And then one day you decided, okay, this is the day. Like this is the day I'm gonna quit my
This
job.
is
This
it.
is the day I'm gonna
Okay.
propose to the certain person, whatever it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the last phase, the A, is the action. So that's when you start to translate it from just in your mind, from just in your headspace into reality. So that's to answer your question, like that to me is the entire beauty of an idea. From something
Gets.
like like giving a lollipop to someone, translated to them living their lives together.
Yeah. And
That
yeah,
that's
yeah.
why I'm into that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow. And I pansin ko since growing up, you've been into this. Tipong the movies you watch,
Oh
you
yeah.
like mga Inception, the you like the movies that there's a list of movies in my head. I haven't really written it down, but like yeah, I should watch that movie because like everyone says it's. I know I should rewatch Inception because I didn't understand it. I know I should watch the Godfather
Okay.
trilogy. I know I should watch Pulp Fiction. Like those are stuff I have seen in your stories at least in the past year. Like that's your thing, eh. So it's these that's why pala, okay, because it's these ideas. All right, I get it. So now with the after watching your first TED talk, I can imagine that a lot of people, by myself, the first TED talk I watched, I think, but the one that really moved me was the one by Sir Kent Robinson. I'm not sure if it's
Okay.
Ken or Kent. I think it's Kent Robinson. But it's about how it's about creativity and how we are educated out of our creativity. And me naman, you know that I'm a dancer. There was a story that he shared about there was this girl, there's a student who the teachers, they all thought she had ADHD or ADD. Basta all these learning disabilities kasi hindi siya makafocus in school. So they had her tested, they had her checked up in a basta nagpa-doctor sila. And what the doctor did was they left her in a room. Then he turned on the radio and played some music. Then they were outside. They were just watching. Then the girl started dancing, and they said, the doctor told the parents, "Parang your daughter isn't sick. She's just a dancer." That's syempre that one really
Oh. Yeah.
resonated with me kasi ako naman I have a hard time focusing. My mind keeps on just jumping and moving from one point to another, and you have a front row seat to watching how
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just keep on jumping from one thought to another. So those stuff, like I got really affected with I got really influenced and inspired with the TED Talk. But what you did, you actually put it into action and you've been planning TEDx projects since we were in school with your org Ajma. What was it that pushed you not to be like, I'm gonna take an active step and actually do something with this TED stuff?
Do you mean like after college or like
In college pa
even
lang, like, kasi I like TED, you like TED. I never thought of like taking a part and actually planning the stuff and, building it to become what it is now.
So again, going back to the idea of being planted, right?
Uh,
At some point in my life, I heard this quote. Like it's something as simple as a quote, right? And it's basically leave people better than when you found them. So that's super stuck in my life that I try my best to live my life in such a way. Whether it's saying hi to security guards or like um, the teller at Starbucks or whatever
uh,
it is, right?
when you're getting your
To
coffee.
yeah, or to someone who's, for example, underperforming at work, and like maybe it's not because the person doesn't want to do the work. Maybe the person has
Going through something.
has a lot of things going on, right? So that is sort of how I've been living my life. So to answer your question though, it's more of how do I scale that these, the planting seeds in every single
Yeah.
person's life in a more scalable way.
Oh, so
Yeah.
it wasn't like na-inspire ako sa TED. I want to do some TED stuff. It's not like example ako, I love Jabberwockies. I want to become a Jabberwocky. It was yours is here's a lesson I picked up from this TED talk I watched. And then you're applying it to your values, your principles, and how am I gonna actually live out
Yeah.
these values and how it just happens that Ted was one of them. I mean, like,
Yeah.
helping. Wow, okay. Oh, this is interesting.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that I'm interviewing you for this because I've known that I've talked to you about Ted a lot, but then not in this
Not the wise.
not in this vibe. Eh. Okay, sorry. Go on, go on.
Yeah. So I've been like, I'm trying to do that also outside of college now, because what we're trying to do is TED is all about ideas worth sharing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But more than that, it's all about the conversations that become ignited after an idea. But again, to what we've been talking about, it's ultimately about sparking a certain action that will hopefully become a ripple effect down the line, right?
Gets.
So that's why even after college, TEDx ADMO kasi is more of for universities. It's always being planned by university students. That organization nga, we noticed, like my co-founder Jao and I noticed that there's no community of ideas outside, or if there are, like it's very limited in the Philippines right now.
Yeah.
So there's no community of ideas wherein they can just build on ideas, converse about ideas, have a dialogue with each other. So that's our main goal for having a TEDx Fort Bonifacio, because we want to build that community. Yeah.
Would you know if there are any TED Talks happening in the Philippines that have happened in the Philippines that are not through a school? Like, I know there's TEDx Savior, there's TEDx this school,
Yeah.
that school. Are there any outside school TED stuff?
There have been a lot actually. Like I know there's been a TEDx Katipunan.
Mm-hmm.
There's it's a school, but it's TEDx Miriam College as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a couple, but there's been, how do I say, the longevity, the sustainability of it. Because like the difference with a school, the reason why it can sustain is, for example,
Everyone's in that school.
if it no, yeah, and if it falls under an organization, that means it's someone else will always keep
Pick it
that
up.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So if it's outside of the community, if it's outside of a school setting though, like you sort of need to invest time in that. Like you really need to have a vision
Yeah.
for it to sustain. Like it can be a one-time event because you actually have a TEDx license just for a year
Mm-hmm.
or one event. So like it's a matter of the continuity, which is what we wanted to do, hopefully.
Yes. Wait, sorry. Before I ask my next question, do you hear my family laughing? Narinig mo ba yun? Did you hear
No,
anyone?
actually.
Oh, sige, good, good. My microphone's good. Because my family's having dinner and I can hear them. I could hear them laughing kanina. Okay. I was gonna ask. So what's your big goal with doing this TEDx Fort Bonifacio, having these outside of school TED events? Do you want, is it your goal to have a community that's gonna keep doing these type of stuff?
Yeah, that's absolutely our vision. Because another thing is it's very timely now that everyone's isolated. So
Mm-hmm.
what we noticed we also have this certain event once a month called the TED Circle. So
Okay.
it's like a book club, but instead of reading books, what we do is watch a TED Circle during a 1 hour, 1.5 hour session. Now what we do there is we watch the TED video and then talk about it afterwards. More often
Mm.
than not, the feedback that we get is they use a certain word. They use the word refreshing. The reason why is that's not something you like. The way I explain it to my friends um, is like in a different lenses. It's like engineering for 5 a.m. conversations, like with your
Sorry.
closest friends. It's like engineering
Engineering.
4 or 5 a.m. conversations.
Okay,
You know how
okay.
after a party, like, or you just
Yeah.
hang out with friends, like up
4
until
a.m. though. Okay, I get you, but if I were to relate it to me, this is exactly what I wanted this podcast. Pero mas 2 a.m. ako. 1 a.m., 2 a.m. Masyadong late. Yung 4 a.m., bagsak
tulog
na ako
na.
eh. But I get
Tulog
you.
na
Okay,
tayo.
sorry. Go on.
Sige.
I get you.
Yeah. Well, basically the late night talks, right?
Yeah.
So it's not something that you've been getting a lot this pandemic, or whether or not you have a
Yes.
partner, or whether or not you stay up with friends. Like it's not the same thing because
Mm-hmm.
you don't get to dive into a certain topic. So, well, obviously, like it's not like you're with a group of friends. You're actually with strangers. But the
Yeah.
fact that strangers can come together in a room, because more often than not, like you probably only know one out of the 12, 15 people in that room.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty interesting that you can relate to people through an idea. Like it's the
Yes.
web that connects everyone in that room. So we kind of
Oh.
want to build that sort of community or pockets of communities in the
Yeah.
Philippines. So that's one of our visions for it.
Yeah, and have it, and it's all gonna be like ideas nga that are, apparently you've used this term before, ideas worth sharing. But then basically that's it. Ideas worth sharing. Those 2 a.m. talks, but late night talks, but in a structure. One of the things I really miss about going out and like having parties and stuff is after the party, tas usap lang. And then
Oh,
you
yeah.
actually you get some, I get it, it's refreshing. You get some pretty good nuggets of wisdom and insights.
Yeah.
But so what you're doing now is you don't need to go through the party. You don't need to drink. You don't need to stay up so late to get those nuggets of wisdom and to have that conversation. You're getting that conversation and then you're boom putting it here in this TED event.
Yeah, kind of. Well, the 2 a.m. thing is more of an informal way of saying it.
Yeah,
But it's
yeah, yeah.
basically structuring meaningful conversations in a
Yeah.
time of isolation, separation. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, you can have these 2 a.m. conversations at any time of the day, but usually parang you don't really have much, I don't know, in my experience, you don't do small talk at 2 a.m. It's always like, that's a deep conversation. That's something about
Yeah.
life. Ganun. Okay.
Yeah.
Now that we're talking about like the type of talks, the content, it's gonna be happening this Saturday, December 5. I got it
Yeah.
right. But December
Number
5,
5. Yeah.
um TEDx Fort Bonifacio, and it's gonna be mainly about climate change. Okay, we're not gonna spoil what's gonna happen, but uh, do you know? Could you explain as to why specifically climate change? I mean, there are always gonna be a lot of pressing issues that need attention, need our, we need the help. We need to talk and think about these things. Why climate change specifically?
Okay, the reason why it's climate change is it's actually a global TED initiative. So it's called
Also,
a
you didn't pick
countdown event.
this.
Let me explain Countdown first. So
Okay, go
Countdown
go go.
is a global initiative to champion and accelerate climate solutions, right? And again, their goal is to turn ideas into action, right? So the reason why is, I don't know if you've ever heard, we have a lot of goals to reach by 2030. No, none of the none of the countries in the world are reaching them. If I'm not mistaken, the closest might be,
Norway
don't
and
quote me on
stuff.
this, but it might be Canada or something.
Okay.
But like, don't quote me on that. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's
Basta the
it's
point is,
basically,
walang gumagawa nito. Walang nakaka-achieve ng mga goals na kailangan natin i-achieve.
yeah, put it this way, like your house is on fire and you know everything will be gone by the year 2030. Or
Yeah.
let's shorten it, let's make it realistic, by in 3 hours.
Okay, okay.
Let's say
Oh,
you,
actually,
you have that
bahay,
3 hour
bahay.
span. Yeah, so you have a 3 hour span. How come you're not doing everything you can to save your home,
That's
right?
right. All right, you mentioned something about goals that we have to reach by 2030 that pretty much the whole country is not really doing. So, could you elaborate on this a little more? Ano ba 'tong mga we have 10 years to do and to save the world?
Yeah, so again, I'm not a climate expert or climate
Yeah.
activist. I'm not an environmentalist by any means, right? Like, I don't want to do this justice by saying that I am, right?
Mm-mm.
I would be remiss if I do that. But basically, we have a Paris Agreement, and by the year 2030, we have certain goals we need to reach. So, for example, we're trying our best to reach pre-industrial levels of, if I'm not mistaken, it's carbon emission.
Oh. Yeah, that's the one
Um,
I always hear that.
yeah,
Carbon emission. Okay.
yeah. So that we need to reduce by 1.5 to 2 degrees our increase in global average temperature for us to actually, like,
Reverse the effects.
basically, yeah, before it reaches an irreversible mark.
Gets.
So, and that mark is by 2030.
You mentioned that you aren't an environmentalist expert or climate change,
No, yeah.
specialist. Sorry, I don't know the proper terms for those, but I'm sure you can speak for yourself. A worried youth, a Filipino who, I'm guessing you wanna have the traditional life where you're gonna have kids, you're gonna have grandkids, like you still want the earth to survive. Eh?
Yeah.
How do you personally look at climate change? Like, how do you personally right now with what you know, even if you're not expert, are you hopeful about how the earth is gonna be, or are you just kind of, yeah, we should talk about this, do it, but at the back of your head, you're like, parang malabo to.
Depends, eh. Depends what lens you're looking at it. Like, I want to look at it from a hopeful lens. Now,
Uh-huh.
the more conversations we have, like, for example, the countdown event that we're gonna have on December 5, right? If you're able to keep the, depends, eh, like, out of sight, out of mind, right? The more you
Yeah,
talk
we'll
about
be
it,
dead.
the more people become aware. Yeah,
Yeah.
the more people will start thinking about the way their action impacts not just themselves but their planet, right? So I'm hopeful enough to think that, again, an idea will sort of spark that kind of change in
This
people.
might be the
But
lollipop, ganon.
yeah, like, it might just be like, for example, when I first read into the TED Countdown event, I would say I'm very not knowledgeable about climate change.
Mm-hmm.
I knew about the Paris Agreement. I didn't really know much about
Yeah, everyone
the
kind of knows
specific.
about the Paris Agreement,
Yeah, like, you know what I
but we
mean.
don't
So
actually know what
yeah,
goes on in Paris. Yeah.
I don't know what net zero, yeah, net zero means. I don't know what we need to reach by 2030, etc. But if you
Yeah.
think about it, the last 10 years that you had was, it seems long, no? But if you think about it, like, that's
That's
gonna
so quick.
be a breeze. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you think about it and fast forward by the year 2030, we like, this is crunch time in the
Yeah.
globe, like, not just global, like, in the like in the sense of the universe, right? Like
Yeah.
we've got 10 years out of more than 2,000 years
Yeah.
that we've
It's
been
ooh,
the
you know what
world.
time it is, Doms? It's
What time is
Kobe
it now?
time. It's Kobe
Ooh.
time. Gotta
Last
come
two
in
minutes, man.
clutch. We gotta come in clutch or else we're so screwed.
It's last 2 minutes. Last 2 minutes. Yeah.
Kasi ako personally, I share the sentiments. I want to be hopeful about it. It's like you hope that people follow the traffic rules. Like you hope that yeah, but like honestly at the back of my head, parang I me personally I feel pretty powerless. Like it's the big companies who make a lot of plastic, make a lot of
Yes.
waste.
Yes.
They're the ones naman talaga with like a real, with the real potential and the real possibility to actually do the change that we need there. So, but
Yes.
where my mind is at, and I really do hope it's gonna change. I really hope I'm gonna be more hopeful and believe more in myself when I say that we can fix this, we can solve climate change and stuff. Like, I want where my head is at right now is in the history books. When all is said and done, where was I? What side was I? Was I on the side that tried to go for climate change, even if in the end it's not gonna work? Like we're so effed up in the end. At least I did my part. At least I know I kind of at least I gave an F when I could have, or if I could have either stayed on this side or stayed on this side. I want to be in this side that cares for climate change. Wow, I'm kind of scared. Are you scared?
Yeah, I'm scared. But like, I want to bring up a topic actually that you
Oh,
no, because like, did you ever in any like to your point, right? Did you ever at any point in AP classes or history classes
okay.
think about wow, at some point Jose Rizal or Emilio Aguinaldo or Andres Bonifacio or Mabini was a kid like me
Yeah,
and
dude.
like was in college like me. Like, what were they doing at this point in their lives? And like, this point in their lives will be in the history books. So like, I guess what I'm saying is
Oh,
like, did you ever
it's
think like
now.
what? No, like not just that. Like every day, like this moment in my life, like how's it gonna be like if I were like in the history books, right?
Okay. Yeah,
So
yeah. Wait, sorry. So are you asking me um what was it like when Jose Rizal was a kid, or are you focusing more on like now where am I, the things I'm doing today, where is it
yeah,
gonna land in the history books? Which one?
the
Okay.
second part, the second
Second.
part, yeah,
Yeah, dude. I always think kasi that my life is pretty insignificant eh. Like you're just one person. Hindi naman ako I'm not a politician. Hindi ako mag-anak ng politician or someone that, with
mm,
a lot of power.
yeah,
Um, I haven't. I haven't. I should. I think I should. I think this decade, especially you and me. I mean, your 20s. It's the start. It's the start of whatever story you and I are gonna tell our grandkids, and when we're
yeah,
old, it starts now. It starts now.
yeah.
So I hope this is our lollipop doms. I hope this is the
Dude, I hope
lollipop
so.
that's
No,
gonna
fair. Like I wanna like if you actually like think about objectively, like we're a speck of dust, right?
Yeah.
In like the universe. But let me put it this way. If you make someone laugh, like in your context, do you think you've made an impact in someone's life?
Yeah, yeah, I have. But
But okay,
like,
so
oh, sorry, go
no,
ahead.
yeah. So let me put it this way. Like, would you agree that each okay, we live in one world, right?
Mm-hmm.
But another perspective is we live in seven. I don't know what the world population
Billion.
is, like 7 billion,
We're not
trillion,
experts
whatever.
in this shit.
We're not, dude. I'm not like. Let's pretend it's 10 billion
No,
people.
let's just think. I think seven is closer. Let's go with seven. Let's go with seven.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's trillion, man. Pero like, so yeah, let's go
Wait,
with seven
people? Are
billion.
you talking about people in the world?
Yeah,
It's not trillion, dude. There's no way.
I
I'm
don't know.
gonna
You want to
Google it
Google?
right now. I'm gonna
Yeah,
Google it right now. Wait.
I feel like I'm wrong, but I
Dude, trillion. Oh,
yeah.
dude, 7.6 billion. This is nine. Yeah. 7.6 billion. Dude, if it's trillion, masyadong
Oh,
gago
trillions
yun.
lala.
Wala,
Tama, tama.
malabo yun, Dom. Okay, sorry.
No, because okay, to be honest, when I think of in the billions, like I kind of just think of China, um, like having so many
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
people
yeah,
in there.
yeah. Yeah,
Like,
gets.
although they probably have like a huge, yeah.
Wait, sorry.
Okay,
Before we
anyway,
go there, wait, sorry, Adams. Commercial, 7.6 billion. Okay, Google has an exact number eh. Okay, how many people?
this is
World population,
2018.
it says
Oh, yeah.
7,655,957,369 that was the world population by 2018. I can't 100% believe that, because how the hell are you gonna know the exact number of people in the world, diba? And like I've never gotten surveyed for anything in the world. So I can't 100% believe like 9 out of 10 people use this toothpaste, because I have never been in my short 23 years of living. I've never experienced any surveys. All right, sorry. Let's go back to what you were saying. So in 7 billion people, what were you saying?
Yeah, so 7 billion people. The way I see it is there are 7 billion worlds, like
Yes.
in our one world. So for like, which is why, like, I'm really like obsessed about this idea, the power of ideas, because by you making one person laugh, you've already improved one world, right? If you do
Ganda
it in
nun,
a crowd of
Doms.
people, you've done it to like X number of people, 1,000 people, like whoever, X number of people who've watched the show or like any of your podcasts, right? Like
That's
to me,
right. Oh,
that's
thanks, Doms. That makes me
but
feel
that's
so
why I
nice.
but like, you know what I mean? Like I get what you mean by we're insignificant, but like I also like came across this like philo class. Like you interviewed Mr.
Sir
Temporal,
Temporal,
right?
yeah.
Like I remember like one time, you know when you have to get up in front and explain, like philosophize basically.
Uh-uh.
Like yeah, it's like one time I got called for that, right? And then I didn't prepare. Like, sorry na lang, sir, pero like I didn't prepare it. Pero I was like, okay, so what can I talk about that I know enough about and
Uh-uh.
related to the topic. Long story short is I talked about do you live your life for your resume or for your what what do you call that
Legacy?
no, like on your death, not your deathbed,
Ah, the
like on your
tombstone, the thing, whatever's
not just
written
that.
under your name.
No, it's when like the thing about the Fault in Our Stars
Eulogy?
when eulogy there. Yeah,
Ooh,
it's
do
like do
you
you
live
live
for
for
your
your
Ganda nun,
resume or your
Doms. Ang
eulogy?
dami mong tweetable tweets, bro. Ganda.
Dude,
Do you live
I live my
for
life in
your
quotes. Right?
resume? Do you live your life for your resume or for your eulogy?
Yeah, the reason I say that is because you everyone's obsessed about their like. I feel like if someone says they don't care about their legacy in any way, like they're lying to themselves, and some either they're lying to themselves or they've accepted the fact that you know they're insignificant in
Oh,
this life.
lasa yung pake.
But legacy to me does not need to be like a Fortune 500 company. It doesn't need to be um,
Yeah. It's
billions
not a
of dollars in the
number.
bank. It's not a number. It can be a number. It's like how many people have you touched in your
Yeah.
lifetime?
Yeah. I've had this conversation also with my family. At the end of the day, we don't even have to go as far as eulogy. Like the people you meet, what they really remember is how you made them feel it. It's the
Yeah,
emotion. So
exactly.
that's how I used to use that as a way of making me feel good about like not graduating with honors, not getting all these academic awards. I would always just tell myself like, Anton, you made a lot of friends in school. You made a lot
Yeah,
of people laugh. You had a lot of fun times. But thank you, Doms, because it's given more meaning to my
yeah,
like yeah. To your point about we're all insignificant, but imagine every single insignificant like it's insignificant in the
the
topic of
grander scheme of things.
everythingness,
Yeah,
diba? But like you have the power to affect each insignificant world,
yeah.
and I think that act of touching all those insignificant worlds kind of makes significance na.
I think yeah,
Ooh.
and another way of putting it, it's the pursuit of that, right? Like, what do you like? This is so philo na, pero like,
Uh-oh.
what's the meaning of life even? Which is
Mm.
why, like, for me, like, to what you just said, I think people should spend a bit more time not defining the meaning of life, but defining the meaning of life for them. Like, and that comes with um, Sinek's
Simon Sinek.
quote-
Ooh, I heard this
Sinek.
guy. I heard this guy
Yeah,
from my family so many times. Okay, what are you gonna
yeah,
say?
because he's like some business dude, right?
Mm.
And he's really good at what he does,
Yeah.
right? But what he's popular of about, kasi like what he's popular
For what he's known for.
for is galing mo talaga sa
Mm.
English, bro. Like
Got you,
ever since
bro.
high school, man. Anyway, no,
That's
for
true.
real.
Thanks, man.
No, yeah. So it start with your why, right? I don't think a lot of people start with the question. Like I had a one-on-one with um like a new hire in the firm I'm working for, right?
Okay.
A few weeks ago. Then I asked like, okay, so why are you here? Like, it sounded like an interview question, like,
Yeah.
right? But it's more of like I was trying to ask, who do you like? Why? What's your purpose in life? Like, what's your
Oh.
why?
Why do you do what you do?
Yeah, but yeah, and then the next question there is, who do you want to become? Then the
Mm-hmm.
next question there is, are you working towards that
Towards
vision of
becoming that
yourself?
person.
Exactly. Yeah. So
Okay.
anyway, going back
Okay.
to our topic now, like I feel like if we're able to articulate our why a bit more, like, and it kind of attaches to the concept of multiple intelligence, right? You might be good at making people laugh, you might be good at solving problems, you might be good at sports, whatever it is, right? But like the other question there is, you're good at it, right? But why are you doing that? So
Yeah.
is it because you want to make people happy? Like, that's very noble. Is it because you want to provide for your family? Is it because you just love improving things and want to see the world
Mm-hmm.
improve in any way, whether it's on operations, on finance, whatever it is? So basically, if you've anchored your life to your why already, like if your why is to make people happy,
Mm-hmm.
then I'd say you're winning at life, man. Because like, you know what I mean? Like your definition of success is very
Yeah.
different from
And
everyone else. Yeah.
I like how you said that it's people are always trying to annoy. People were always trying to understand the meaning of life. Why are we alive? Why do we have consciousness and diba,
Yeah.
why am I would have this like diba, there's like that there's a very tiny chance that the sperm of your dad meets the egg of your the mom. Like there's a bunch of different sperm. Like
Yeah.
I'm the first place. I'm the first place. Why me, diba? You're never the truth is you're never gonna know the meaning of life.
Yeah.
We're never gonna know, even if we say that all your questions are gonna be answered when you die. We still don't know who the first human
Yeah.
was, diba? You're still never gonna know. But very nice that you said that you can determine and figure out your reason of living. Like you cannot figure out the purpose of life, but you can figure out your purpose of life because you
Yeah.
pretty much pick it.
Yeah. As long
Buns.
as it's ethical and like,
Yeah, yeah.
you know what
Sana
I mean? Like
naman. Hindi naman,
there's a line naman.
yeah. I was born to fuck people up. That's
Yeah, yeah,
This
yeah.
this it's no, it's that plus common sense. Tama tama.
Yeah. Like, which is why I believe that people were innately born good. It's like, for example, if you ask a baby, like all of these things, right?
Uh-huh.
It's nature, nurture kind of stuff, eh?
Uh-huh.
Diba?
Uh-huh.
I feel like innately everyone has a good nature. I'm not saying the world is a bad place. Like, I'd
Yeah.
like to think that the world is a good place. It's
You
more
you
of,
believe the world is a good place.
I I think I can say that actually, because the way it's it's kind of game theory. Like,
Okay.
you act selfishly because you know that someone else will act selfishly. Okay, you know what I mean? It's
Mm-hmm,
either
mm-hmm.
that or you expect someone else to do the good for you.
I want to throw this question to you naman. You were talking about like people being innately good and the world.
Oh,
This is kind of random now, but do you think that the world is inherently good?
I believe people are inherently good. The thing about the world is it's made up of, 7 billion people,
Ah,
right?
kumonte naman.
Okay. Um, so yeah, I don't know if that makes sense. I think the world is a mix of people. So
Yeah.
I don't know if I can call it an inherently, the keyword is inherently good place.
Uh-uh.
But I think people are inherently good.
People are
Like,
yeah. Just when you watch from when you just watch all the nature shows of like how the animals kill each other and eat, like it looks so evil and so bad. The lion's gonna just eat this poor gazelle mom who just gave
mm,
birth, for example. But how we think that that's evil, that's really how it's supposed to go. That's the correct way of life. It's just
okay,
that like we humans are kind of fucking it up with
okay,
everything that we're doing and everything that we stand for, ganon. Ako naman though, I feel like the world is messed up in a way that it has to be this messed up for things to make sense. Like typhoons are a bitch, but they have to happen. Like it's a thing. the world's gonna have earthquakes, volcanoes are gonna explode, even if we don't want it to, and there's no like good benefit from it. Like that's how it has to go. And humans are, I also like to think that we're inherently good only if we're privileged enough to actually have the option to be good. Like we're gonna have to do everything to survive, but Maslow's hierarchy of theory,
Yes.
Maslow's thing,
Hierarchy of needs. Yep.
hierarchy of
Hierarchy of
needs.
needs.
Kung hindi mo na satisfy yung parang food mo, your basic needs, that's when you start being kind of evil in my eyes, I think.
So to answer your first question about do I think the world is inherently good?
Uh-huh.
Like I'm going to change my answer because I think the world is neutral. Like these
Ganda
things
doon.
happen. No, you know what I mean?
That's
Like
true. We're just
that's
we're just the ones that's saying it's good or not. Yun
no,
din.
exactly. Diba? Like, well, we're never gonna understand what an animal thinks, right? But
Uh-uh.
we define an act as good or bad, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's inherently good, maybe it's inherently bad, but at the end of
That's
the
just
day,
because
we're
of
the ones
us.
defining it. Yeah.
That's true. That's true. I want to talk about you. I mentioned this at the start of our conversation. You are working in the corporate world. You have a job in finance. You work is it a 9 to 5? Do you even work from 9 to 5, or are the hours longer?
Usually longer, but more often than not by choice din naman. Because
Yeah. But
yeah, I
you
sort
have
of
that 5 days a week, clock in
yeah,
the hours, get paid.
yeah,
Um, and it's not a surprise that you're here. You took up ME, which is Ateneo's, one of Ateneo, if not the top course of Ateneo to produce the stereotype. Okay. I'm
yeah.
not saying it's bad. My dad is the stereotype. My brother is the stereotype. Both ME, corporate jobs, diba? How is it like 2 years in? You expected to get here, and then now you're also talking about a lot of like your purpose, your why, ganun. Kasi I think there's a shift in the mindset of our generation, in terms of how we view our work, how we value our time, and what we think we deserve and are entitled to when it comes to our work. So how has it been like for you in the past 2 years? 2 years pa lang naman.
Well, before I answer your question, like it's very interesting because you kind of talked about like I sort of followed the normal mold
Yeah.
of like people like in our
Ateneo,
class,
oo.
Ateneo, semi-honor section in Ateneo,
ME,
ME, corporate
finance,
job,
big
yeah,
company.
finance,
Is it
yeah,
sorry? Is your company international? Is it foreign?
yeah,
How do you say?
yeah. It's a global investment bank. So
Global investment bank. See that term pa lang. Global
it's very
investment bank equals corporate. Okay. Go,
boom,
you were
yeah.
saying.
Like if you ask me why I took up ME in the first place, like the answer I'm gonna tell you is because I didn't know what I wanted to get into. So I wanted to just challenge myself. And
Okay.
you know me, I was never good at math in high school. Like
Same.
there were like a handful of people in our class who weren't good at
Yes,
math.
sir.
We were part of that handful of people.
Yes, sir.
So
Those
yeah,
three
like
people.
yeah. I just wanted to challenge myself, to be honest. And I sort of started thinking that same way as well when I was transitioning from college to the work life, right? Like it's on the transitions that you kind of catch yourself whether you know yourself enough or not.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is like I kind of wanted to see okay, what's the most challenging, hyping,
Yeah.
how do I even explain? Like the most oh wow, you work there kind of job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like so long story short, if I just take that as is, I sort of just copy pasted a template of success,
Yeah.
right? Which is why going back to one of our topics earlier, I like one of my advocacies is for people to really start understanding themselves a bit more in terms of their why, right?
Mhm.
So like if your why is something as simple as again making people happy, like you can latch onto finance for that, right?
And you
But at
can
the
make
same
people
time,
happy
like
somehow there.
yeah, you can, like you possibly can, but I guess what I'm trying to say is like, is that the only way to make people happy?
Is that the
Like,
best way
yeah,
for
like you
you?
haven't, yeah, exactly. you haven't defined your definition of success, which is why, and I personally don't think I did, like, had it going out of college. Like, I don't think I defined my version of success
Yeah.
to the level that I'd like it to be. I sort of just wanted to be like, okay, I need to reach vice president by this level,
Yeah.
executive director before I'm 30 or before I'm
Yeah.
35, reach the highest level, managing director before I'm 40. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So stuff like that. I've sort of just copy pasted that. Kind of wish I sort of took a step back, maybe third year college or something, and
And
like, what
just
do I actually like doing?
okay, okay.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, let me just give you some insight on the other side. Kasi ako
Okay.
rin, we were, Doming and I, we were in the same high school class. I am one of the handful people from our class that didn't go ME. And it was actually
Okay.
my
Yeah.
brother who talked me out of it. I was also about to put ME in my asset application kasi parang papa and my brother did it and friends are going here. You're gonna earn
Okay.
money when you go here. And oh yeah, people vilify money. I wanna make money. Like that's a
Yeah.
it's
Not a
no
bad
eh.
thing.
Give me that material goodness, diba?
Yeah.
But there was them who told me the parang it's not bagay for me. And I agree with them. And I'm here on the other side. I'm here chasing passions, going out of the mold, ganun. But I have to admit, and I'm vocal naman about this, that I would envy people in your position that have the stability, that have, you don't have to think of, like, yeah, you'll think, tama ba tong ginagawa ko? Am I in the right job? But at the same time, you know that you are doing something. You are doing something with your life, whether or not
Yeah.
you're in the right job for you or whatever. Like you are gonna learn in that 1 year or two, whatever amount of time you are there,
Okay.
no matter what happens, as long as you just, as long as you just do your job, diba? Compared to if you're doing freelance, like each day is a potential. Oh my God, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. But more often
Yeah.
than not, most of the time, the days are, ano ba 'tong ginagawa ko? Okay pa ba 'to? I mean, is it still making sense? Ganon. Now I wanted to ask though, what your opinion is, kasi also comparing it to the stories I hear from my parents about when they were in the workforce, it's given you're gonna study hard, you get a decent job, you work hard, you go up the ranks. Like that's the way of life. Now,
Okay.
our generation, nagmumukha tayong entitled and tamad, which may be true also because a lot of us, we don't stay in our job nearly as long as the earlier generation would have. Would you have an insight as to why? What is it in the general mindset of our generation that sort of causes that? That it's a different na, iba na yung working, iba na yung mold of someone working, corporate jobs in our generation.
I like what you said. You differentiated it. Like, it's not just your dad. I think it's more of a generational. What are
Yeah.
they? Like the boomers? Are they the boomers? I don't even know.
Boomers, Gen X, parang ganon. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much
Uh,
there.
yeah. Whatever. I think it's boomers. Let's go with boomers or Gen
The ones
X.
who only used cell phones way after they were working na.
Yeah, and I think that has something to do with it. But like, let's not go into that. But
Oh,
like, anyway,
that's a
like
whole another thing.
all of my mentors who are basically Gen X, right? They keep telling me there's value in staying in your job for 5+ years, 5-10 years. And I
Even
see
if you
the
don't like it,
value.
na?
They value loyalty kasi. They value loyalty and patience and grit, right? So I think that's one. But if I ask naman, like my mentors who are like less than 30 or, just breach 30, like basically millennials also, like they're a lot more understanding if you have a discussion with them about passion
Yeah.
or
What is my
not be.
place in the company, mga ganon?
Yeah, like it's I wouldn't say it's a millennial, it is a millennial mindset, but I don't think it's wrong or right. It's more of one what we were exposed to. And again, like there's a lot of discussion about how our patience has been sort of
It's so ano
fast
na eh.
forwarded because
Dude,
of, yeah,
Google pa
because of,
lang. My
yeah,
gosh. Want it
Google,
now.
Zoom. We're talking via Zoom,
Yeah.
which would not be possible in what, 50 years ago, 40 years
Yeah.
ago.
A
So
few
like
years
that's one
ago.
thing.
Kahit a few years ago lang, this wouldn't be that as possible.
No, but I mean, like, let's say like the same stage our parents were in,
That's right.
like
That's right.
right now. Like if there was a pandemic, what, 30 years
Agat
ago,
nun. Agat
how would
nun.
that be? Like,
Oh my
diba? Like,
gosh.
you know what I mean? So I guess my insight there is I don't think there's a right and wrong answer to it. It's more of I keep saying it, but what's right for you? Like,
Mm.
are you complaining about your job because you don't see the purpose of what you're doing? Because I don't think anything is wasted. I think if you actually take it, like you can kind of bullshit yourself down and saying, nah, like, okay, like I'm doing this to, help, um, like I'm in finance, right? Like I'm doing this so that I think the blood of the economy is finance so that I can help get people more jobs by,
Yeah.
giving them,
Perspective.
yeah, it's perspective. Diba? Like I can convince myself to that level, but at the same time, like I can also not convince myself in that level and say like what I'm doing is useless, blah blah
Mm.
blah 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 blah. So it's just mindset. Like it's how you sort of anchor yourself to again your why, your purpose, who do you want to become in the future. If you can, which is why like I really take a step back and when people want to ask me to catch up and stuff, like I ask them that point blank, like maybe not the man in the sense of what's your why.
Mm.
I ask them like who's the person you want to become? Are you working towards
Yeah.
being that person? Even in some small way. Like if you want to become a podcaster, are you learning are you even watching different successful podcasters like Joe Rogan,
Yeah.
whatever? Are you learning how to monetize on a podcast? Or you know what I mean? So like if you're
Gets,
doing
gets.
something that works towards that, then you're good.
Mm.
And again, like there's nothing wrong with being loyal to a company if that's what your values are.
Mm-hmm.
But if your like you shouldn't succumb, not even succumb, you shouldn't force fit yourself to a certain set of values
If they're not
um,
yours.
if they're not yours, right? Like you can take it as is when your boss tells you, "Nah, it's not a good idea to quit after a year and a half," right? Which I would recommend against personally because I think it's a bit too short. But at the same time, like if you're in an FMCG, but what you want to become is a painter,
Yeah.
like like it's up to you because you can paint on weekends. You can
Yeah.
drop everything and paint, diba? Like there's if there's a
Yeah.
will, there's a way, diba?
At the end
Like
of the day, ikaw yung
yeah,
may... You're the one who's gonna make the decision. You're the one who's gonna have to
yeah,
figure that shit out. Ah, okay. So okay, to end this, let me just ask you. We've been talking about the why, what you
yeah.
value at this point in your life. What do you value when it comes to what you're doing, why you're doing? Would you have an answer to that question as to why you're doing what you're doing?
Yeah, like it's very simple to me. Like my mantra in life is to leave people better than when I found them. What in whatever scenario I place myself in, if I can stay true to that vision that I want for myself, then I'll
Yeah,
be good. But at the same time, like you kind of, I don't know if you've ever heard of the term ikigai, but
I heard of it, but what
it's
does it mean?
yeah, it's basically like it's like a Venn diagram of four things, and the intersection is it's basically like
Your
the
purpose in
meaning of
life.
life. Yeah, your
What are
purpose in
the
life.
four circles? I just know two circles. I just know the world's your greatest passion and talent and skill and the world's greatest need and the middle is your purpose in life. There are four?
Yeah, like what I know is there for. So it's
Okay.
what you're good at, what you can get paid for, what the world needs, and what you like doing.
Okay. Well,
So
it's kind
if
of
you
yeah.
merge
It's
all of, well, it's
related.
pretty much the same thing. But
Yeah.
yeah, if you're able to merge that, I think wherever you are, to be honest, you're on the right track. Like that's the way I live life.
Okay. And with that, Doms, I want to really thank you. And you're saying that your purpose is to leave something better than when you found it. I can honestly say that I feel I am a little better than the Anton that was 1.5 hours ago. So, bro,
Thanks, bro.
thanks so much for your time, man. And um, could you take this time to please invite everybody to the TED event that you planned that you and I are gonna host?
Yes,
Where
sir.
can people
More of
find more
this.
details about this? what is it? What can they look forward to? Where, when, what? Go.
Yeah, sure. So if you're interested in a conversation on climate change, join us in TEDx Fort Bonifacio's Countdown. So a countdown is a global initiative by TED, wherein we're championing and accelerating solutions to the climate crisis, trying to turn ideas into action. So it's going to be happening on December 5, this Saturday, 1 to 4:30 p.m. Check out our Facebook page, TEDx Fort Bonifacio, for more details.
All right. So, yo, again, thanks so much, man. I enjoyed this conversation.
I did.
As
Always a
as
pleasure,
usual, as per our always enjoy our conversation. So, thanks, man. Thank you for guesting on the show and being a guest for the
Yes, sir.
podcast.
See you, man.